Alarm bells are starting to ring over falling birth rates. In China and India, populations could halve by the end of the century. Some say that means a more sustainable future.
전 굳이 한국 출산율, 한국 인구수에 대해서 그렇게 집착할 필요가 있나 싶거든요. 어차피 지구가 지금 힘들어하고 있는데.
But others argue our societies and way of life will suffer.
Well, we're very concerned about overpopulation, and rightfully so, but the fact is that the new prognosis suggests that instead of being concerned about overpopulation, we might need to start being concerned about underpopulation.
Time is of the essence because every year that we wait, the proportion of women of childbearing ages is going to be lower.
With fertility a growing problem, meet the baby makers, helping bring new children into the world.
We are headed to KK Hospital right now for, I can't even remember how many visits already, but this is day 8 actually of the injections.
All the great songs in one place. Charmaine E hanging out with you. Hoping you
DJ Charmaine Yi recently turned 35. Just as she was planning to get her eggs frozen in Malaysia, news broke in Singapore of a change in the law.
Women are in favour of the White Paper's proposal to legalise elective egg freezing for non-medical reasons. While it gives them more options as aspirations change, it's also important that they know what's at stake.
After years of debate, women aged between 21 and 35, regardless of their marital status, will be allowed to freeze their eggs for non-medical reasons to preserve their fertility. It's known as social egg freezing. However, only married couples can use their frozen eggs to try for a baby through in vitro fertilization. The law would only come into effect in 2023. But another law, already in place, allows egg freezing on medical grounds.
Basically, I discovered a 10 cm cyst. So I went for an emergency operation and removed not just the cyst, but the entire ovary as well. So I was 25 at the time. I thought, oh, I'm still young, everything's okay. I guess I will meet the right person and have kids at some point. But a few years later, I discovered another cyst in my other remaining ovary. But when this news broke, my gynecologist told me, hold on, don't go to KL. I think you can appeal because I have a very strong medical case because I only have one ovary left. So, you know, I wish this was a conversation that we had like maybe 5 to 10 years ago, you know.
The law change is happening against the backdrop of worries over fertility and population. Singapore's birth rate is one of the lowest in the world, at 1.1 children per woman. That's well below the replacement rate of 2.1.
The Singapore Family Planning and Population Board was formed on the 7th of January 1966.
After fears of a population explosion in the 1970s, the country now confronts a shrinking local population.
Couples expecting a baby will get a one-off $3,000 grant to defray the cost of having a child.
I think we need to have enough of the next generation of our own. If we can push the fertility rate not to 2.1, which would be replacing ourselves, but to maybe 1.3, 1.4, we produce 2/3 of what we need, then the balance 1/3, well, I'm prepared to top up from overseas.
In Singapore, there is a great incentive to put your career and your education first. And marriage, dating, and childbearing can come later. The problem is that this process sometimes takes a long time or never finishes completely. The decision to lift the ban on social egg freezing in Singapore does make sense in the context of population dynamics and population structure in Singapore, because more and more women are giving birth in their 30s.
Some experts feel that there should not be an age limit for social egg freezing.
The important consideration is that a lady is not going to get younger, right? If they want to use their own eggs for future fertility, after counseling them about the chances, they should be free to do so.
Charmaine is just starting out on her journey to freeze her eggs. She's documenting her progress to share with women everywhere.
Right, so on the way to KKH, we'll see how this goes.
I'm looking forward to this cycle ending because, injecting yourself is no fun. Drawing blood, scans, it's never a fun process, I must admit. So I'm happy to hear that this cycle may end at the end of this week. And if so, then we really are going to be looking at the quality of the eggs next. So it's like, that's just clearing one hurdle,
Thank you.
At the start of the menstrual cycle, medication is injected to stimulate the ovarian follicles. That's to ensure the growth of as many eggs as possible. The procedure continues for the next 9 to 11 days. The patient can get the injections done at the hospital or do them at home. Charmaine's partner Camillo is helping with the procedure.
The doctor has given me what's supposed to be my last injection. This is the trigger shot.
Ready?
Once the eggs reach a certain size, they'll be triggered to mature with a hormone injection.
And then now we just wait.
36 hours later, it's time to harvest the eggs.
Today is the day of the egg retrieval process. I'm just quickly checking everything that was required by the hospital, where I need to go. So these are my forms. And I believe I'm all set and ready to go. Okay, today's finally the day. It's egg retrieval day. I've got my fingers crossed. Let's do this.
The lady would be under mild sedation and a small needle would be inserted into the ovary, guided by ultrasound to get the eggs out. So the eggs, after being retrieved from the body, will be checked by the embryologist.
The next step is in the clinic's lab.
Only mature eggs can be frozen. So we use a technique called vitrification. It's a rapid freezing technique where ice formation within the egg is avoided. So the survival rate should be better. The eggs are stored in big storage tanks. These tanks are filled with liquid nitrogen. So the temperature is maintained at minus 196 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so the procedure is done and I'm so happy I did it, quite frankly. These are the 16 eggs that were retrieved. Actually, of the 16, you can't really see, right? Some are larger than others. But of the 16 that were retrieved, 2 were not usable and 3 were immature.
The egg is supposed to look very smooth under the microscope, but sometimes they may contain vacuoles, sand grain-like structures. Sometimes there can be abnormalities with these eggs. So we look for only those which are mature. Immature eggs cannot be frozen.
The frozen eggs can be stored indefinitely. And the cost in Singapore for the entire procedure is about $10,000. So if more women go down this path, what impact will it have?
Whether social egg freezing will increase the birth rate, we do not know, and we can only guess. The fact is that the take-up rate where the ladies use the frozen eggs would be probably about 10%.
Declining birth rates are a global issue. 23 countries, including China, will see their populations halve by the year 2100. Some experts worry there won't be enough workers and taxpayers to keep economies going. There is still no shortage of people in the world. Births in all African countries are at replacement rate or higher. But mass migration is unlikely for political and social reasons. Popular countries like Singapore can usually attract migrants, but that comes with its own challenges.
If we rely too much on migration, Singapore will become a less rooted society. That's because many migrants have family members that are elsewhere in the world, and they may have incentives to move somewhere else or feel that it's easier for them to move somewhere else.
Some say it's now or never to get Singapore's birth rate up.
Time is of the essence because every year that we wait, the proportion of women of childbearing ages is going to be lower.
But Singapore's challenges are not as severe as the country with the world's lowest fertility rate, South Korea. It's taking increasingly desperate measures to turn things around. South Korea, known for its K-pop, K-dramas, and now the Sampo generation. Sam means 3, and Po means given up. The Sampo generation are South Koreans in their 20s and 30s who have given up on 3 things: dating, marriage, and having children.
제가 산포가 된 이유는 저의 꿈을 위해서 여러 가지를 포기하다 보니 연애도 포기하게 되고, 그 이유가 가장 큰 게 이제 경제적인 돈도 들어가고 누굴 만나서 시간을 보내야 되는데, 그 시간에 이제 제 연기를 조금 더 고민하는 시간과 그 이외에 어떤 노래를 배운다든지 춤을 배운다든지 이런 걸 하는 게 저한테 더 이득이 될 것 같다는 생각이 들어서 포기를 하게 되는 것 같습니다.
(36-year-old) Kim Ja-song came to Seoul with the hopes of becoming an actor.
현재 공연 일정이 잡힌 건 없지만 이제 10월 달에 공연을 할 수도 있을 것 같습니다. 아무튼 앞으로도 계속 또 도전해서 좋은 배우가 되려고 합니다.
Ja-song believes there's nothing wrong with the Sampo generation.
산포에 관해 사람들이 이제 편견을 가지고 있는 거는, 만약에 뭔가 결혼을 안 한다 그러면 뭔가 문제가 있는 사람이 아닌가, 아니면 정서적인 거나 생각적인 게 많이 독특하거나 달라서 굉장히 개인주의가 심해서 결혼을 못 한다고 생각을 하기도 하는 것 같습니다. 제 생각은 어쨌든 제 인생은 한 번이고 제가 살아가는 거기 때문에 다른 사람의 눈치나 그런 시선 따위는 저는 중요하지 않다고 생각합니다.
So, who's to blame for the fading interest in marriage and children?
이러한 한국에 있어서의 산포 세대 증가 역시 한국 내 과도한 경쟁과 그 이유와 맞닿아 있습니다. 이 치열한 경쟁 속에서 청년들은 나의 부족함을 인식을 하고 나의 부족함을 메꾸기 위해서 아주 치열하게 고민을 한 끝에 이렇듯 3가지를 포기하겠다는 결론에 도달한 것이죠. 따라서 이 3가지를 스스로 자발적으로 포기한 청년들을 비난하기 앞서서 제가 생각하기에는 우리 사회를 이렇게 구조화시킨 기성세대와 국가의 잘못이 크다고 생각합니다.
South Korea's fertility rate has hit an all-time low at 0.8 children per woman. This is the lowest in the world. The country is aging rapidly, threatening the pension system and one of Asia's most dynamic economies. So the government is spending billions to encourage more births.
난임 부부에게 치료비를 지원한다든지 아니면 다둥이 가정에게 아파트 특별 분양을 공급한다든지 아니면 신혼부부들의 재정 자립을 돕고자 저리의 대출 정책을 시행해 왔습니다. 혹은 육아수당 또는 출산 축하금을 지급하는 각종 수당을 주기도 했죠.
But despite all the money being spent, so far it's not working.
그도 그럴 것이 어느 누가 아파트를 공급받고자 혹은 수당을 조금 더 받고자 아이를 출산할 수는 없는 노릇 아니겠습니까? 따라서 한국의 출산율 문제를 근본적으로 해결할 수 있는 이슈에 집중을 해야 되는데 미국의 최고 경영자인 일론 머스크는 급격한 획기적인 변화가 없다면 인구 감소로 인해서 일본은 사라져버릴 것이다 라고 얘기한 바 있습니다. 그렇지만 제가 우려하는 바는 일본이 사라지기 전에 한국이 먼저 사라지지 않을까 싶습니다.
(39-year-old) Kim Yina is known as a Bein. That's the name for women who choose to remain unmarried.
비혼자가 된 이유까지는 없고요. 어떻게 살다 보니까 이렇게 된 것 같아요. 살다 보니까 이렇게 된 것 같고 딱히 비혼주의자를 주창하는 것도 아닌데 아마는 아니고 어쩌면 제가 하고 있는 일 때문인가 싶기도 하고 연극을 하고 있으니까 돈도 잘 못 벌고 결혼이라는 거를 사실 젊을 때는 별로 안 하고 싶어 했어요. 왜냐하면 결혼한다는 게 굉장히 어떤 구속되거나 압박받는 것처럼 느꼈거든요. 결혼을 한다고 해서 제가 어딘가에 더 이상 내가 아니라 누군가에게 종속되는 느낌이 없어지면은 결혼에 대한 거부감? 불안함이 좀 덜해지지 않을까 싶어요. 그러니까 특히 한국은 이게 가족 간에 합쳐지는 거로 해서 그것 때문에 너무 괴담을 많이 들어서 시월드에 대한 그런 게 조금 덜하면 좋을 것 같고.
A local university is trying to influence the Beihons and Sampos.
그래서 여러분들이 투표하지 않으면 여러분들의 목소리 반영이 안 될 거예요.
Students go on mandatory dates for a Gender and Culture Studies module.
이 수업이 학생들에게 이제 좋은 관계를 맺어가는 거, 그리고 또 결혼하는 거, 출산하는 거에 좀 더 긍정적인 그 어떤 격려가 된다라고 생각을 하고요. 그리고 왜 젊을 때는 20대 때는 모든 게 다 불안하잖아요. 불안하고 또 사회가 불안할 때는 더 불안해지기 때문에 그런 막연한 불안감에 대해서 좀 해소해주고 그리고 왜 그것을 좀 타개하는 여러 가지 좋은 팁들을 같이 공유해보는, 생각해보는 그런 기회를 준다고 생각해요.
This dating assignment prepares students for what to expect and how to behave on a real date. Each date lasts 4 hours, and they can only spend $4 US. For both Hyun-jin and Sang-yeon, this is the first date they've ever been on. It's the same for most students in their course.
제가 만약에 이 수업을 듣지 않았다면 저는 아마 데이트를 하지 않았을 것 같아요. 왜냐하면 지금까지 지금까지 많은 남자 간의 관계가 없었고 그리고 굳이 해야 될까라는 생각이 많았었는데 이렇게 수업을 통해서 좋은 기회를 얻게 되고 해보니까 제가 원래 생각했던 것보다 그렇게 두려워할 문제가 아니고 간단한 생각이구나 이렇게 생각이 많이 바뀌게 되었어요.
같이 4시간 동안 함께 있으면서 어떻게 해야 상대가 불편하지 않고 어떻게 해야 또 자신과 상대방이 함께 즐거울 수 있는가, 이거를 스스로 생각해보는 그런 기회를 마련해 보셨다고 생각이 듭니다.
결과도 재밌었잖아.
맞아.
라면도 맛있었어.
맞아. 진짜 다행이었어. 거기 없었어.
또 왜 더치페이 같이 왜 한쪽에 몰아서 모든 희생을 하게 하지 않는 것. 내 이상형만 만나려고 하잖아요. 보통의 경우는. 그런데 이상형이 아닌 사람과도 왜 이상형이 아닌 사람에게서도 굉장히 좋은 미덕을 발견할 수 있고 그 사람과 내가 잘 맞을 수도 있다라는 걸 알려주고 싶었고요. 이거는 매칭 프로그램이 아니에요. 이거는 그냥 관계에서 어떤 매너를 가져야 하고 어떻게 운용하면 이 시간을 즐겁게 보낼 수 있는지, 그리고 그 많은 사람을 좀 만나보라는 그런 어떤 전제를 가지고 하는 수업이에요.
It seems more urgent than ever to get Korean singles to go on dates. In 2021, the number of marriages in South Korea hit an all-time low. While the country overall is not seeing an increase in births, one city is making headway. Sejong boasts a birth rate of 1.6 children per woman, twice that of Seoul.
사람 중심의 도시로 계획된 도시로서 깨끗한 주거 환경, 그다음에 맑은 자연 환경, 그리고 복합 커뮤니티 센터, 그다음에 종합 복지센터 등 편리한 인프라가 잘 갖춰져 있습니다. 부모들이 거주 지역 인근에서 쉽게 공동육아 나음터를 방문해서 좋은 환경 속에서 공동 돌봄을 실현할 수 있고.
Co-parenting is a common sight in Sejong City. It's called Pumasi, which means the communal sharing of labor, or in this case, looking after each other's children.
가족 품앗이는 특장점으로 모임 주제와 활동 주제를 가지고 긴밀하게 활동을 하고 있는데요. 몇 가정이 이렇게 재미있게 활동을 하고 있습니다. 이곳을 이용하시는 이용자분들은 보호자와 자녀가 편리하게 누구나 오셔서 아이들과 함께 놀이를 할 수 있고요. 장난감을 대여해서 가정에서 활용하실 수도 있으세요. 또한 저희의 이제 프로그램 참여를 하시면서 가족 간 유대감 형성에도 많은 도움을 받고 있다고 하십니다.
Kim Mira moved to Sejong in 2019. She thinks communal parenting makes it easier for younger parents to have kids.
현대사회가 되면서 엄마 아빠들이 많이 바쁘고 조부모랑 같이 살 기회가 없으면서 아이를 돌보기에 좀 힘에 부치는 부분도 있고 삶의 지혜를 얻는 부분도 적거든요. 그런데 마을 공동체나 공동육아를 통해서 서로 지혜도 나누고 어려울 때 아이를 좀 서로 맡기기도 한다든지 같이 공부를 한다든지 이렇게 함께 할 수 있어서 지지도 되고 배우기도 하고 그런 면에서 좋은 것 같습니다.
From the lowest birth rate in the world to the highest in the developed world, Israel is defying trends elsewhere. What's behind its success? In Israel's largest city, the beach is a big attraction. And it's not just fitness enthusiasts. It soon becomes clear that there are lots of youngsters. Israel's fertility rate is 2.9 children per woman. That's the highest in the OECD. A veteran obstetrician is doing the morning rounds at a busy hospital. Up to 20 babies will arrive today.
Babies are born here all the time, all day and all night. We have around, I'd say, 600 deliveries per month and something like 7,000, 8,000 per year.
It's a contrast to places like South Korea, where some maternity wards have shut down.
We get to be a part of this stressful but very, very happy, intense, and emotional moment, which usually ends up with a happy family. So that's why I chose this profession.
The team discusses the day's cases to see which ones need the most attention.
Well, in the delivery room, what we do is we monitor deliveries all the time because the delivery room is like an intensive care unit. Things are happening very rapidly, very hectically, and then you can go from 0 to 100 in a second because the delivery can go smoothly, the fetus feels okay, the mother feels okay, and then in 1 second something happens which makes you have to react very quickly in order to fix things. So this profession of obstetrics, it's a happy profession, but you have to be very on top of things all the time and be able to monitor multiple things happening at the same time.
The process goes on all day, with a story in every room. Orel has just given birth to her second child, a girl.
I've been through thousands and thousands of deliveries, and what makes me happiest is the fact that I can make a difference. I can really make a difference. With a few simple interventions that we are all very trained in, we can make a real difference between life and death. And I think that's very satisfying.
Some of the new arrivals need extra care. A baby boy born 6 hours ago is getting a checkup. He arrived prematurely, at less than 2 kilograms, and just 10 months after his sibling.
We fight for every mother and every baby, to the extent that even fetuses that are diagnosed with very severe malformations are treated in utero and postpartum, so every child matters.
In the same hospital, a fetal specialist is checking on a pregnant patient. There's easy access to prenatal treatment, and it's thought Israel has the highest rate of ultrasound tests in the world.
ועשיתי בדיקת אולטרסאונד. ובשאיפה אחרי זה נוכל לשחרר אותך הביתה. We have a lot of women hospitalized before giving birth and also during and after delivery. But for those in my department who are prior to giving birth, we are very concerned about maternal and fetal complications. היו לי כאבים בבטן התחתונה. וקיבלת כמובן תרופות לעצירת הצירים, נכון? I think the most devastating complication someone can have is a stillbirth in her first pregnancy. All the dreams shattering in a minute where we find the baby without a pulse, and going with families who had this complication to the next pregnancy, and then the next pregnancy, and then the next pregnancy, with very stressful memory of what happened in the past, and making sure it doesn't happen again, and making sure we'll get to term safely again. That's very rewarding.
At Tel Aviv University, a sociologist is studying the complex factors that make Israel different from other developed countries when it comes to having children. A background of persecution, genocide, and war can't be ignored.
There's all those historical reasons contributes to the high fertility rate in Israel, because the Jewish people feels like he still needs to fill the gaps. You have to have children in Israel as a woman. It's not an option. When you're pregnant and you walk down the street, everyone reacts. People even can touch your belly. That's really outrageous sometimes, because that's your personal body, but your uterus is everyone's uterus, and that's really it's really a cultural thing. When you just got married, people will ask you, when will you have your first one? And after you had your first one, well, when you will have the second one. And after you have the second one, people will ask you, well, what about the third one?
Her research indicates no connection between economic factors and the decision to have children. The generous help given to pregnant women is not followed up with similar assistance for young children. But it's not a deterrent.
You need to pay for your child care facilities, and sometimes you pay as much as you earn. Women that don't earn higher salaries invest most of their salaries in taking care of their children while they are at work. However, we see that that still does not affect women in their decision when and whether to have children. In other countries, sometimes women feel that they want to have a successful career and they prefer that over having children, large families, or families at all. But in Israel, that's not the case. We have only 24 hours a day. That's a given. And women need to decide whether to spend those hours between work and taking care of their families and leisure. Women in Israel are struggling to get it all done, and that's interesting. Why doesn't it change? Personally, I struggle like everyone else. I think families in Israel struggle, but it brings us to this cultural thing that children in Israel are the most important thing.
But some argue that Israel could soon have too much of a good thing. A prominent economist says official projections show the population will double from the current 9.5 million to 20 million within 40 years.
In a decade, we are projected to be the most congested country in the OECD, and rising rapidly. We're just literally taking off and leaving the entire developed world. We already have some of the most congested classrooms in the developed world. That is not going to fall anytime soon because you need to build more schools at that pace.
An added factor is that Israel has a range of different fertility rates. Muslims, Christian Arabs, secular Jews, and religious Jews have stable or falling birth rates. But one group stands apart: ultra-Orthodox Jews, or Haredi. They're on track to be the majority within decades.
Their fertility rates rose from 6 children per family, which is already very high in 1980, to 6.6 children today. This is something that's just disconnected from the rest of Israeli society.
He's part of a research group trying to get politicians and the Israeli public to address this sensitive topic. This includes discussion of whether some of the Haredi are getting a good enough education for jobs in a modern economy.
You can't make adults children and give them a good education. There's no reset button on human beings. Who's going to pay for maintaining their living standards, for taking care of their needs, be they medical needs or any other needs? And who will maintain the country? How will we survive here?
So while Israel debates its future amid looming demographic challenges, is there a place that has found a balance? Denmark has maintained a relatively stable population with social policies and an increasing role for technology. But will it be enough? It's the start of summer in Denmark's capital, and families are enjoying an outing. The fertility rate here per woman is 1.7 children. That's down slightly, but is currently supplemented by migration. Kindergarten children are playing and have reason to be happy. Their education is subsidized, and their parents will receive child benefits until they're 18. But something else is going on here. 1 in 10 kindergarten-aged children in Denmark is now the result of assisted reproductive technology, and treatment for the first child is free. Lisbeth and John now have 2 children, but it was a struggle to get here. When they met, she had fertility issues, but tests revealed John's low sperm count was what was preventing a pregnancy.
I took the blame for friends and for John, by friends and family, because it was the easiest thing to do. It was a big hit on his masculinity, and that's why it was the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't like to see him be sad, and I was okay, so why not do it?
Yeah, because when you are male, of course you can get kids. Every male can get kids. It's just the thing. It's a very big taboo, exactly also in Denmark, that a male, you can get kids. So to tell my friends, oh, my sperm is so low, I cannot get kids, I could not do that.
They tried 2 types of treatment. First, traditional in vitro fertilization, or IVF, where thousands of sperm are placed near an egg in a laboratory dish. And then another method, where a single sperm is injected into an egg. In both methods, the resulting embryo is placed in the uterus after a few days.
When we did the fertility treatment, I really had difficulty doing the needles because I don't like them. And I had to take so many. I had to mix the medicine in the bathrooms, anywhere where I'm going, in the theater, at social events, at family and friends. I was always the one looking like a junkie. And my stomach was very sore because I took so many through so many years.
And seeing your wife putting so many needles in her stomach and just lying there screaming in pain, it's so hard. And knowing you is the issue. It was so hard for me, but it was easy for me again, because the only thing I have to do is make a sperm sample and then hope the best.
After years with no success, they nearly gave up.
And the last egg was put up one day, and the next day I felt like a really strange feeling. I couldn't stand up, I couldn't sit down, and the day after I took a test and it was positive. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like this. It doesn't work for us, so why should it work? We took a lot of private scans to make sure that it was real. And when we saw the first heartbeat and heard it, it was like, whoa, what are we doing? This is real.
Lisbeth was actually at her mom when she took the first test. And then she just called me and sent a picture. I remember I just lost my phone. I couldn't hold my phone in my hand, just crying in happiness. Because you've been through so much pain.
Baby Laura was born, and then came a twist. 2 months later, Lisbeth was pregnant again, this time naturally.
And we didn't believe it, our doctors didn't believe it, our friends and family were like, no, that's not real, is it a joke?
So Laura was born in January of 2020, and Magnus, our son, was born December 2020, just under 11 months after. Yeah, it was the idea when you couldn't get kids, and now you will get 2 in a year. It was so weird.
They're grateful that the fertility treatment was free.
If we had to pay, I would not be financially ready to do that because I didn't have the money. And I don't think we would be having kids today if we had to pay ourselves.
I think that is a wonderful thing, because a lot of couples actually cannot get kids. And it is a problem on the global scale that you can't get kids. So that we in Denmark just can go see, okay, we cannot get kids, please help us.
I wish I had known when I started treatment that there's many people like us. Many people don't talk about it. Many people, it's like a taboo. And we are not alone. We are not alone. And that's really important that other people go through this as well.
I've talked to a lot of colleagues also, and then say, oh, actually, we also got the treatment, but for many years ago, but they never talked about it. Actually, a lot of people go through the treatment and they don't speak about it.
Thank you.
Denmark's new generation of children reflects underlying issues being faced worldwide. More than 1 in 5 men here will never become a father, and up to a quarter of all couples will experience infertility. In Denmark's second largest city, doctors at a popular fertility clinic are helping more than just locals. Before COVID-19, about 25% of the patients here came from overseas.
So when people travel to Denmark, it's due to our more liberal legislation towards egg and sperm donation. People also travel for, let's say, availability and experience. So in other countries where they don't have as high a volume of treatments, they of course have less experience, and especially maybe lab experience.
In Denmark, women also don't have to be married or heterosexual to access fertility treatment. And they can keep trying until they're 46 in private clinics.
So I think we have the best patients in the world because they are highly compliant. So we kind of feel we work on a common goal. So they desire a pregnancy, we want to help achieving the pregnancy.
Well, I have the best job ever. It's a very rewarding field to work in because you can help couples or women getting their child that they've been wanting for a long time. It's very fulfilling to help people to have their wish come true. Another thing is that with the lab technologies and what we, as doctors that we're interested in behind the scenes, it makes it very interesting for us to have a hard case and we can solve it.
The technology includes the embryoscope, which is now used on every case.
Well, it's a machine where you cultivate the embryos and it takes a picture of each embryo every 10-15 seconds. So we actually have a film of each embryo, and using this system, we can actually select the most viable embryo and the best embryo with the highest pregnancy rates to transfer.
So there's progress in expanding fertility, but not everyone is convinced it's enough. At Denmark's largest hospital, fertility expert Søren Ziber is getting ready to give a presentation to government officials. He's trying to raise the alarm about falling fertility, warning that the safety valve of migration won't help for much longer.
Most people working in Danish farming is from Ukraine. They have a fertility rate of 1.2. Their population is drastically dropping, and in 70, 80 years from now, they'll be reduced by 67%. If you look at this chart here, it shows you that the chance of a live birth as you go.
His message is simple. The country needs to change attitudes and help local people start having babies younger.
It says, have you counted your eggs today?
He's known for provocative public campaigns, challenging women and men to find out more about their eggs and sperm.
All over the city, on side of the buses and so on. We all think that as soon as we stop using contraceptive pills or condoms or whatever, so we immediately become pregnant. That's not the way it is. I mean, we are, as species, not very fertile. So when we are most fertile, the women is in their early 20s. And from there on, it just goes downhill. We cannot treat us out of this problem. It's not only a problem due to health problems, to diseases. It's also a consequence of how we live and the hesitation to build a family. And if you, as a young person, think there's a huge conflict between obtaining the good life, the good job, your career, whatever you call it, and having children, you'll postpone having children until, and the need gets so strong that you need to have children. So therefore, we need to decide, everybody, all of us in Singapore and in Denmark and other places, we need to decide what type of society do we want to have.
We have one where the core is that we can have children and that we organize around having a family.
But attitudes are hard to change. So technology is where a lot of effort is being directed. The future of baby making will be different in ways that might surprise. Baby making is embracing technology around the world. In India, artificial intelligence is helping improve IVF treatment for infertile couples.
We have seen this technology evolve slowly and now by leaps and bounds.
In Denmark, go inside what's claimed to be the world's largest sperm bank, where demand is booming.
Well, good sperm should be swimming straight ahead. It shouldn't go round in circles. It shouldn't lie still.
A Singapore engineer has come up with a low-tech way to help sperm reach the egg during sex.
I wanted to create something that couples can use in the privacy of their home to help them conceive faster.
Meet a Japanese entrepreneur breaking barriers with products aimed at women in a field known as femtech.
People often think that we're selling sex toys, right? But we're not. Anything that we insert inside vagina is apparently considered a sex toy, but we're not.
And scientists in Asia and Israel are studying artificial wombs that could one day save premature babies and much more.
15 million babies born preterm each year around the world, and that's almost certainly an underestimate. At least 1 million of those will die.
The future of baby making might look very different. India, the second most populous country in the world, and soon to be #1. But there's another story here: declining fertility and distressed couples.
We're both part of joint families. And I mean, you go home and this is kind of the favorite topic, right? I mean, you would be told next time, please, we want 3 of you to come. I think it was funny at first and then it just got super irritating later on.
Alak and Sonam are one of many couples facing baby pressures in India. For the past 4 years, they've been trying to conceive through in vitro fertilization, or IVF.
So we got the laparoscopy done and we were told that the fallopian tubes were blocked.
In 2021, India's fertility rate dropped to 2 births per woman, the first time it's ever been below the replacement rate. This was hailed as diffusing a population bomb. But infertility is increasing here, especially among the young. An estimated 10 to 15% of the population have fertility issues. At a Mumbai hospital, an infertility expert is checking on an embryo. He's seeing an increasing number of patients.
First factor which is affecting fertility in the country is lifestyles are changing. Then, of course, another common factor is contamination in the general environment that may be contributing. Third is STIs, infection. Another big player in our country has been tuberculosis. Tuberculosis can affect genital organs as well, can block the tubes, can damage the uterus, can damage the ovaries.
Infertility and IVF are still sensitive topics for some people here. That's one of the reasons couples don't seek treatment.
initial few months, we did not inform our parents. So we were like, we have to manage our own anxiety. I cannot take your anxiety as of now.
I think when we came out and we told them that, we told our parents that, we're going through IVF and this is how the process goes. It's going to take some time, so you need to have patience. They were actually quite relieved, quite happy, and thank God for that. They have been very supportive throughout.
Fertility expert Dr. Firuza Parikh is a specialist assigned to Sonam's case.
I saw the sad plight of women who were supposedly infertile. Here I would see them with hopeless faces, no smiles on the face, and being treated badly by society. And I decided at that point that this is the field I want to specialize in. I want to bring smiles to the faces of women, to the faces of couples.
She hopes society will gain a better understanding of assisted reproductive technology.
IVF sometimes is considered unnatural. IVF is sometimes considered to give abnormal babies. So when all these stigmas and taboos and misunderstandings are removed, and when the science is explained to couples, I think that is the time when people will be more forthcoming.
But IVF is expensive, and only 1% of infertile couples seek treatment.
And I also believe that, like a lot of private practice, that we surely can also contribute by doing what is known as individual social responsibility. As a healthcare provider, you have to discount yourself. You have to do social work by reducing your charges, but not at the cost of compromising the level of care.
New and improved technology is now available for those struggling with infertility.
Initially, IVF did not give good results. The results were very low. We have seen this technology evolve slowly and now by leaps and bounds. What we are seeing is this technology gives succor not just to infertile couples, but also to fertile couples who are bogged down with genetic diseases.
Mumbai's Jaslok Hospital is among the first in the world using a new software backed by artificial intelligence. This software is called UBAR. The system is fed millions of data points with genetic and biochemical information about embryos from all over the world. The algorithm then predicts which embryos have the best chance of successful implantation.
This technology is beautiful. It depends on the machine to keep learning and learning. So as the technology grows, as it sees more use, in fact, the costing would come down. And this kind of technology-driven work is what is going to give us good results.
In Israel, one of the developers of the software being used in Mumbai is getting ready to launch her next AI offering in a few months.
Hi.
Hello, Yael.
Hi, Rory. How are you?
Okay. Well, I just wanted to talk to you about the meeting next week and if we're getting to where we need to be.
And it will be great to go over with the graphic designer, talk with Anna.
Mm-hmm.
From the very first days of embryonics, we understood that in order to disrupt the field of fertility and bring, tangible tools that will bring tangible improvement in success rates, it's not enough to have one piece of technology that focuses on one area or one problem.
Coming soon is AI to screen for genetic problems with embryos. The status quo is to take a tissue sample.
First of all, you need to go through an invasive biopsy, and not always embryos survive these biopsies. And the other drawbacks, of course, is price, and you need professional people who know how to do it. So we're able to rank the embryos according to their potential to be, healthy, genetically healthy or not. And I'm talking about specifically about major conditions like Down syndrome and other chromosomal defects that can be we can screen, and then based on this pre-screening, get decisions of what embryos you want to biopsy or not. And I think this is, very encouraging, especially for parents who have few embryos.
This gynecologist turned businesswoman also wants to use algorithms to help before the embryo stage. AI will predict the best combination of hormones and treatment to help women produce eggs. That tool could be 18 months away.
Being a fertility patient, going for fertility treatments, you're paying a lot of prices, emotionally, physically, financially. My satisfaction is knowing that I'm building something that is relevant and important and can change lives of millions of people globally, because fertility is a growing need globally, and it's just the beginning.
Another part of the fertility puzzle is sperm. Meet the people behind a booming donor industry. And for women, there are innovations to bring more maternal health care into the home. Denmark's second largest city has an interesting claim to fame. It's home to what's said to be the largest sperm bank in the world. This is a university town, so most donors are students. Virtual reality goggles are the latest addition, replacing traditional material.
Because it has been proved in other studies that if you compare the quality of sperm from a man masturbating or a man having sexual intercourse, the sperm quality is better when it's stimulated by sexual intercourse. So making it as lively as possible, we may be able to improve the quality of the ejaculate.
The semen is taken into the lab. It takes months to become an approved donor, as checks are done on the man's family medical history and the quality of his sperm.
Well, good sperm should be swimming straight ahead. It shouldn't go round in circles. It shouldn't lie still. It should have one tail, not two. So you look at it and you see how it looks. You know how a sperm cell should look like, and you know how it should swim. As a clinical geneticist, I used to work in the private hospitals. In the private hospitals, we see the patients once they have a genetic disease. Being a geneticist in a sperm bank, you are a step before that. You actually look at the family history before the genes are distributed, so you try to prevent children getting genetic diseases.
The sperm is stored in so-called straws in liquid nitrogen at minus 196 degrees.
So a sperm can be frozen forever. The quality does not decline. If we thaw it the day after it has been frozen, or we thaw it 20 years after it's been frozen, the quality is exactly the same. So there is no limitation on the time or the years that we can store sperm.
The lab is experiencing the busiest day of the year. Demand for sperm is growing after being hit by COVID-19.
We export to more than 100 countries in the world, being all the way from Cambodia, Sri Lanka, and then, of course, all the markets here in Europe. So we cover all over the world. It depends on the local legislation. So it's often that stands in the way of women being able to purchase from us. When I first started here, I think a lot of people, they were all giggling. So what are you doing in a sperm bank business? Because they felt, okay, that's a little bit, you can make a lot of fun of it. But actually what I've seen is the business is very serious. It's an amazing, all the research that actually goes into it.
I think it's nice to see people working in a sperm bank because they have a feeling of doing something good. We all have a feeling of contributing to something very great. So it's a nice working environment.
In the marketing department is a young woman with a special connection to the company. Emma Gronbeck was conceived with donor sperm that was provided here. At home, she shares her experiences online and offers advice.
I'm in the process to become a solo mother by choice. Any recommendations for me from your perspective? Okay. So my recommendation would be that you are open to conversations with your child and tell the truth from the beginning so that there is no secrets in your family. When people heard about me being donor conceived, they didn't really know how to react because all the things they'd ever heard about it was something negative. So I wanted to create a more diverse picture of what donor conception could be like. I have known that I was donor conceived since forever. My parents did a children's book that they read to me as a nighttime story from I was 3 years old or something like that. So I've grown up knowing that I was donor conceived. And I think it has made me very secure in myself and in my family because I felt like I was a very, very wanted child. I think the most important thing was that my parents told the truth. I do have an anonymous donor. It's not been a problem to me, but it can be to some people.
Now, her parents even take part in online Q&A sessions.
We were relatively rational about that Henning's, your father's sperm count was so low that our chances of conceiving would be really, really slim without that help.
My name is Henning, and I'm Emma's father, and very happy about it. Mm-hmm. And having Emma made us a family, and at that time, back in '96.
Emma hopes her story will become more common in other parts of the world where similar fertility trends are emerging.
And I think that the most important thing is love, and if we end up in a place where people who love each other and want children have the possibility of creating the family that they dream of, I think that would be amazing. I've definitely seen a positive change in people opening up, breaking down taboos. Yeah, and I'm very, very happy to see it move in that direction.
So there will be many more people like Emma as attitudes and technology change. Also changing is how maternal health care is moving away from hospitals. In a Tel Aviv suburb, 27-year-old Hila is expecting her second child. She's preparing for an ultrasound exam, but this time she's doing it herself.
So I have a lot of stress and a lot of worries about this having this pregnancy. Before this pregnancy, I had 2 miscarriages, so it's a main issue for me.
The device attaches to a standard mobile phone. It can check on heartbeat, fetal movement, and even amniotic fluid. The resulting video is uploaded for specialists to view.
I can tell you that my previous pregnancy, when I have my son, I have a lot of worries. I'll go to hospital for each pain, each comfortable. When I don't feel comfortable, I'm going to the hospital. Now I don't need it. It's really make me feel comfortable. It make me feel secure. I can observe my baby. I can see the pulse. I can see the movement. I can see it moving. I can see it alive. It's like happening.
She's now more confident about growing her family.
We are raised to be a mother and father and family and big one. I want 3 kids. Hopefully it's a 10. My son is everything for me. Just to think about having another one like him, it's great.
Let's look at your fetus.
One of Israel's most experienced ultrasound specialists supported the development of the new device. He thinks it's a game changer.
This is the face. You see, this is one orbit. You can see the spine. Imagine in places, in rural places where you don't have medical centers everywhere, like in big cities, and the woman is scanning her fetus and something is wrong, and she sends the movie to the doctor, and he tells her, listen, come immediately to the hospital, there is a problem with the fetus. And she rushes to the hospital, and then they save the baby's life. This is something that couldn't been done before if you didn't do the ultrasound by yourself and send the pictures. So I mean, the entire surveillance of pregnancy is going to be changed.
Someone leading that change is an OB/GYN specialist at Israel's largest medical center. He's running a pilot telemedicine project for women with gestational diabetes. One week, the women do the ultrasound themselves at home. The next week, they come into the hospital. It was a pandemic that brought the technology to the forefront.
We had pregnant women and women that have delivered with COVID-19, and we started treating them in the hospital remotely. They connected themselves to the fetal monitoring, to the ultrasound, and then we saw how simple it is. We said, okay, we need to start extending it to home. So today's visit was very successful. Maternal side, the patient had no complaints, no contractions, no bleeding, no rupture of membranes, and she feels the baby moving well.
The team is making a video to share their work with others. And they have big plans for the technology, here and elsewhere.
Could be a patient in the East Coast, or in Germany, or in France, or in Israel. And once we take out this geographic limitation, and each patient can find the doctor that can help most the problem she has, and also address the economics of what she can pay for the treatment, I think it's a totally new world for medicine.
The team is part of a newly formed virtual hospital. The head of the hospital says it will only grow.
I actually believe that in maternity care, in the future, everything except the maybe C-sections can be done at home. Gradually, it will go to home. People won't have to come to the hospital for workups or visits for clinicians, because technology will help us to do it in the house. It's already there. The technology is already there. We have to gain much more experience and much more belief in the technology to see that it can really work, and gradually it will be fully at home.
So the trend is to bring pregnancy and fertility care out of traditional hospitals wherever possible. It's also turning into big business as the world of femtech takes shape. In Japan, there's a startup company in the relatively new field of femtech. That's the term for female technology designed to empower women's health and well-being. In a small office above the store is the startup's co-founder, Amina Sugimoto.
Women's health is largely neglected. There are areas within healthcare that are definite needs, hidden needs. The second thing is there are a lot of investments happening around health tech. Femtech was one of the emerging sort of market.
And it's big business. Globally, the femtech industry is expected to be worth $75 billion annually by 2025. Amina turned heads when she launched a femtech festival 3 years ago.
Half of the product I didn't know how to use even, but I just display it as an art exhibition. And I wanted to also figure out how people react, how willing people are to attend these events. And it turned out that over 150 people appeared from north of Japan, Hokkaido to Osaka. That's when I figured, one, there's definitely, it's not a niche market, people want to talk about it.
Located in the heart of Tokyo, Amina's store sells a variety of femtech products. They include menstrual underwear, menstrual cups, and devices to help conception.
When I started Fermat in Japan, people often think that we're selling sex toys, right? But we're not. Anything that we insert inside vagina is apparently considered a sex toy, but we're not.
After a slow start, the femtech sector is taking off in Japan. The 2021 Femtech Festival in Tokyo attracted 1,500 visitors. Recently, Amina helped convince government officials to include funding for femtech in the budget.
Japan started to change slightly, that there are now a lot more women in their decision-making position. And those ladies struggle in their career life with period or, with fertility problems, having babies, pregnancy, menopause, but they couldn't say anything about it and they struggle. So I think now that we brought femtech sort of industry with an impact, they now see it, and they now see it as their responsibility to change something within their ability.
More companies in Japan are now investing in femtech. Amina is on her way to meet one of them, and she's bringing her products with her. Today, she's meeting Kentaro Toma, who shares a personal interest in the products.
妻のですね、妊娠から出産でその後の職場の復帰まで含めて、それをずっと見ている中で、なんですかね、女性の課題というものを、健康課題というものを少しでも解決できるようなソリューションがあるのであれば、それを我々の力でですね、より良い方に持っていくことで、将来同じような課題であったり悩みを抱えているような人たちの生産性であったり人生をですね良くできるようなことをお手伝いできればと思って興味を持ったというそんな次第です。人材の多様性であったり、女性の活躍推進というキーワードが市場においても非常に重要な言葉となってきてまして、それを体現するために多くの企業というものがその分野に投資をし始めている。
Back at the office, Amina's getting ready for a trip to Singapore, where she's expanding her company. She's hoping to do a small-scale femtech event. As she sets up, she hopes it'll be the first of many events like this.
Japan is a big market, but I think there's a ceiling. Whereas Singapore, I don't think there's a ceiling. It seems like the rest of Southeast Asian countries seem to be looking what's happening in Singapore too. So if things go big here, the same movement tend to probably followed by other neighboring countries too. Another benefit I think is that this country is very diverse community, right? So for people, for like femtech entrepreneurs to try to, those who are trying to come up with an innovative product, they're actually interested more in a community and population that are more diverse than homogenous, because it can be applied in other part of the world as well. Thanks for coming. Thank you for having us.
The next day, the festival gets underway. The participants include other femtech companies and potential investors.
It's not painful. You just insert it inside your bra. They're most selling breast pump in the US now, in Europe, and they're coming to Japan now.
As the industry expands over the next few years, Amina has big hopes.
I always tell people, like, I really envision the world where we no longer have to use the term femtech. It will soon become a part of health tech, and this product will become really available at department stores and supermarkets or pharmacies.
Among the products are conception devices, including one designed by a local. Benjamin T. went through his own struggles to conceive with his wife.
Well, first of all, we went through all the checks, and unfortunately, we were diagnosed with unexplained infertility. We decided to go through IVF, although it's a very painful process, and we succeeded. Though we succeeded through IVF, the entire journey was extremely painful and long for both myself and my wife, with many injections. It was invasive, and I wanted to create something that couples can use in the freedom of their home and the privacy of their home to help them conceive faster. And that's kind of how we started to look at technologies that could help and the science of conception.
Benjamin co-founded the company in the hopes of providing an affordable and natural method of conception.
We developed our first product, the sperm guide, essentially to increase the chances of conception every time couples try.
The device is designed to minimize leakage of semen post-intercourse. It's inserted into the vagina prior to sex. After ejaculation, the male withdraws and a flap springs up. This blocks the backflow of semen, channeling the sperm to swim to the fallopian tubes and increase the chance of fertilizing an egg.
So frankly, when we launched the product, we were taken aback and surprised by the overwhelming response. At some point, we actually even ran out of inventory because we didn't expect the amount of demand. And we realized that there's a gap, that current invasive procedures may not be able to fill for majority of couples who may not need to go to IUI or IVF, but want something that they can boost their chances earlier on in their journey. So far, we have over 1,000 couples using our products both in Singapore and United Kingdom, and we have several pregnancies both in Singapore and UK, which we are very proud of. Okay, great. Good afternoon.
Today, Benjamin is meeting a couple of investors to share more about his sperm guide.
When you look at femtech specifically, Asia is only 10% of the femtech market globally nowadays, and so there's a lot of room for growth. So we're starting to see more and more products come out from this part of the world, which are very exciting, particularly because there's a lot of cultural nuance in the region, and I think companies coming out of Asia are better positioned to be sensitive to those cultural nuances and positioned well to grow versus some of the international players coming into the market. So it's a market we're keeping a close eye on. I think there's going to be more and more solutions coming out. Thanks a lot, Ben. Very nice meeting you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Back to you with next steps.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Benjamin himself has more products available. In a lab, staff are testing and improving another offering that he thinks is greatly needed.
We also realized that many couples don't have good data around their health and their hormonal health especially. And so we also have launched multiple products now, such as the hormone test that they can do at the comfort of their home in order to get accurate data around their hormone levels, which have a very dramatic impact on fertility. And also at the same time, the earlier couples know about their fertility health, which is a stigma around Asia and maybe many parts of the world, the earlier you can understand and seek treatment if you need. I think if I didn't have the, I would say, opportunity to experience the stress and the emotional burden of conception, I probably would not have started 2+. And this journey made me realize that many couples in the world are facing the same issues. And as an engineer myself, I wanted to create an impact. And there's nothing probably more impactful than creating life.
But high-tech solutions are also moving forward. There are some startling new developments in the world of science. A premature baby is fighting for its life. Its lungs are simply not ready for the outside world. What would help babies like this survive better? A team of researchers is in Western Australia to do studies on artificial wombs. They're focusing for now on lamb fetuses. Matt Kemp is based in Singapore, and his colleagues are visiting from Japan. The quest is to help premature human babies born on the edge of survival at about 21 to 23 weeks of gestation. The ones who make it often have severe health problems.
It varies, but certainly cerebral palsy, blindness, cardiopulmonary disease. So significant lifelong health challenges, and they impact the individual and of course the family. But they also have a fairly significant health system cost as well.
Masatoshi Saito is an obstetrician who's been doing this research for more than 15 years.
Sometimes I cannot save the premature baby, so that's the reason I want to do some research, and I really want to save that premature baby. Maybe I can do more for that baby. That's my feeling.
So one of the rationale around this is really to try to take advantage of the anatomy and the physiology of these babies, treat them a bit more like fetuses, rather than trying to rush them to adapt to life outside of the uterus.
So this nifty little device here is actually our artificial placenta. And we take this and we use these circuit connectors to link it into the umbilical cord of the fetus. And then once that procedure is complete, we take the artificial placenta and the fetus, and we place it inside our artificial uterus here, and then we close that up and we commence our treatment process.
The lamb is suspended in a liquid electrolyte solution that acts as artificial amniotic fluid. Tubes attached to the umbilical cord bring blood out to the artificial placenta. It's oxygenated here and then sent back to the fetus. The whole process is driven by the fetal heart, with no external pressure added.
Scissors, please. Thank you very much. Go, please.
Yeah, so the fetuses grow, and they grow at a rate that we think is normal. So at a gross level, their long bones grow, they get bigger, they start to develop wool. And they move around like you hope a fetus would as well. So they flex and they extend, and they swallow and breathe, and they sleep. So it's pretty remarkable. It really brings home, I think, the importance of what we're trying to do, and really the importance of getting this to work.
2007, 2008, I saw the huge number of the failed study, but now we can get a huge number of the success. So I feel good. I feel good, and also so I feel the future is is very bright.
As well as the sheep, similar experiments with monkeys are just months away. Their fetuses are more similar to human ones. Masatoshi has a response for critics who question the research.
Just as I said, we need to do that to get a development in medical system. Yeah, that's the answer. We need.
It's a huge unmet need. Preterm birth is, leading cause of under 5 death in places like Singapore, Australia, and Japan. 15 million babies born preterm each year around the world, and that's almost certainly an underestimate. At least 1 million of those will die. It is a huge global health challenge that has lifelong consequences for individuals and families. And it just strikes me as something that's, terribly unfair. This really difficult start to life for so many people. And if we can do something about it, then I think we should.
Back in his own lab, Matt takes advantage of local expertise in molecular analysis. This is helping to understand how organs develop during the experiments. Human trials could be about 10 years away. But he pushes back against talk of fetuses growing completely outside the womb.
And that's a little bit like saying, well, if you can hop in an Airbus and fly from Singapore to Perth, then you can just tweak it a little bit and then you can go to the moon. It's quite a leap, really, and I think is not really reflective of actually what the technology is or does, and what it can be used for.
At a renowned science facility in Israel, a team led by Jacob Hanna is also doing artificial womb research, with huge potential down the road. They've shown in the past year that they can take mouse embryos from the mother and keep them alive outside the uterus for about 1/3 of the entire pregnancy. The new uterus is a glass tube, where early-stage embryos are kept in a nutrient-rich serum. They're spun so they don't implant on the sides. These early days of development are crucial for mammals and could give insight into human disorders.
And this happens actually very quickly, and within a couple of days. In the mouse and humans, this takes about 2 weeks process. And this is really when most of the drama is happening. It's the most dramatic morphological changes in the shape and in the organ formation. It is important to realize that this relatively short period in which the organ formation happens is really the period when usually things could go wrong. For example, most birth defects originate from defects that are happening during this process.
The team estimates about 80% of the embryos are nearly identical to those growing inside a mouse uterus.
So I think this is really highlighting to us that the embryo is a really independent, self-organizing entity. So it doesn't need the uterus to make the correct shape.
But there's a twist. None of these are natural embryos. The team has moved on to using stem cells from skin and blood that have the ability to create embryo-like structures, or embryoids, without a fertilized egg.
So you can see here now, this is a day 10 embryo. You can see here the heartbeat. You can also see the red because they already have the blood supply. It's very exciting, but I mean, as scientists, we're always greedy. Yesterday's news is already old news. We're now thinking about the next step, but in a positive way. It's a validation of our logic of trying to make how to grow the natural embryo first, and then that would allow us to grow the synthetic embryos, which has happened.
Applied to humans, the research would be a massive breakthrough. People with infertility or other ailments would use synthetic embryos to help them become their own donors.
You can have progenitors of eggs or progenitors of sperm or blood progenitors and harvest these progenitors that can be then expanded and transplanted back to the same patient. And again, in this case, the DNA is identical, so there's no need, there's no difference in DNA, and there's no need to look for donors. And that is something we want to explore and hopefully make a reality. So we're going to be very busy for the next 10 years, I would say, and exciting. Like, there are going to be some failures, but I think there are going to be a lot of successes as well.
And even further ahead, what's possible?
The question and the idea of can we really achieve or recapitulate an entire mammalian pregnancy outside the uterus is an important one. And yes, we cannot overlook it. I mean, pregnancy, there are a lot of issues with women who suffer from what's called uterine insufficiency and hard to maintain pregnancy or early delivery and so forth. So there is a clinical justification to do that, but I think we're still far ahead. So it's going to take a lot of development and time, I think, to reach this. However, I do think that it can become a reality one day.
As fertility evolves, there are still many technological and ethical considerations to figure out. But the future of baby making is going to look different. As societies grapple with the question of how many humans do we need? And what are we prepared to do to get them?